Good morning. Happy Friday. Yes, we're back to the Fridays. Mondays and Fridays from now on. So today is the first official Ascension update of December. So Diana and I had our Q&A on Wednesday, on the 1st, on Wednesday night, which was lovely. It was really nice to have the questions coming in. Everybody was really on point with the things that they're asking. Very pertinent stuff. And yeah, so how are you all feeling? How is each part of your world presenting to you at the moment? And as we all know, December is an incredibly important month. It is a month that we've been kind of like we've been building up for this, haven't we? We've been building up for it all year. We've got the solstice, but when I went over to see Diana, she was also telling me that it's not actually, I mean, I've been all about the solstice. I'm always about the special dates because we utilize them and we anchor and set in specific energies and formats and platforms for the next phase during those dates. And of course, the winter solstice is always, well, in the UK or in the northern hemisphere, this solstice is always the one that the largest volume of Christ light enters our planet, our consciousness, our bodies and our fields and all other aspects of it. But Dinah was talking about not just the window of energy on the 21st, but there is a very specific astrological date on the 24th, what we would know as Christmas Eve. And it's so significant that I'm sure the astrologers amongst you will already know about it. I'm not going to start going into the details. I kind of urge you to research yourself a little bit, but kind of go down the lines of spiritually orientated astrology, people who kind of know what's going on out there at the moment. But I've a couple of occasions recently, I've woken up with very specific wording running through my head. The first one was a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and I woke up and the words "stay in love, stay humble" were running through over and over again. Stay in love, stay humble. And that was obviously my last set of instructions that I was receiving, or the advice that I was receiving from my team on the other side before I kind of entered back into this reality again. And you know, most of us are at least partially aware of where we go and what we do at night time. And especially because if you've been on this pathway for a while, you request where you go, you have wishes to where you spend your time at night, and you take the correct steps to make sure that you go with the right protection. Say you call in your dragons, or you call in Archangel Michael, and you set your destination. Say, for example, you are training at the plains of Sirius, the Sirius universities. Many of us have been doing that, particularly in preparation for this period of time. So we go there consciously. I tend to be all over the place, so this message was very much, I felt like it was from the Intergalactic Council. I'm kind of colluding with on a regular basis. Stay in love, stay humble, which kind of gave me the heads up that things were going to start getting pressurized in my reality around me. I'm in the UK. Of course, we're all very aware of the increasing pressure from 3D. And for those of you that have reached out and messaged me recently, I promise you I will get back to you, but I'm receiving a huge volume of personal messages and emails at the moment, so it's taking me a little bit of time to work through. Okay, so just as a heads up, if you're thinking you might have got in touch with me a week ago and I still haven't responded, there is many souls at the moment who are requiring either comfort or maybe a little bit of positive wording for what is occurring, and just reminding of what the higher perspective actually is. And of course there's a higher perspective. I've been saying for years now that what we are experiencing at the moment isn't necessarily for our personal benefit. Okay, we are orchestrating, we are anchoring, we are holding the light, and we are ensuring that the platform, the 5D platform that we're moving into, is solid, it's intact, it's well structured, and we are all moving as a kind of like a unified heart center. But as we know, the pressure or the volume from 3D is increasing, and now it is getting very visible. We, again, repeating myself from previous videos, we are needing to see this in our reality. Even for those of you that are experiencing it and finding it very difficult, it's not for our benefit, it's for the benefit of those that are still asleep. Because at the other end of this, there will be a vast quantity of people who have been awoken by the circumstances that we are experiencing, that we are seeing. This incredible kind of deck of 3D cards that have just been thrown onto the table, like, in my opinion, very prematurely, because the awakening is happening so fast. And this visibility of shadow is what is going to be waking people up. I'm hearing this everywhere. There's so many souls that are saying, finally, I've been speaking the truth for years. And, you know, many of us were mocked and ridiculed at the start of all of this for speaking up, for saying, you know, like, can you not see through the illusion? And all of a sudden, these sacred souls are receiving messages from saying, you were right, you know, and this, we were expecting this. It's not about kind of like, you know, that kind of tiny little element of smugness that some of us might be feeling. Yeah, I think we're allowed that to a certain degree. But I'm digressing now. What I want to talk about is the message or the wording that was repeating in my head this morning when I woke up. And again, it was very clear. And it was quite simple. It was void all commands. Okay, void all commands. Now, what does that mean? It could mean a number of things, couldn't it? It could. So what I always tend to do when I receive a message from the higher realms, first of all, I always check that it is from the higher realms. I know by my general energy levels and how I feel and the vibration of what is coming in, because I've learned at an early stage to bring everything through my heart center, and my heart center will automatically tell me whether it is of the light or whether it is not. And this was another discussion that I had via video a little while ago. How do we discern? How do we know that the people that are communicating with us are legitimate, they are of the light? And we take it through the heart center. Okay, so if you are being presented with confusing communication, you take it into the heart, and the heart will not lie. There is no energy for illusion in 5D. So your heart will immediately translate whatever that is at the vibration that it is, and it will report back to you. And it's just simply our responsibility to be able to learn to listen to that correctly. So void all commands, okay, what does that mean? And immediately the feedback that I got from it was that we are being surrounded at the moment by very loud voices that are commanding us to act a certain way. Do this, do that. If you don't comply, you will be, you know, this will happen, that will happen. Void all commands is the response that I believe that many of us are already naturally taking as a stance. We are sort of like, no, I'm a sovereign being. I stand in my light, I stand in my power. I give myself the orders. I don't take the orders from an outside body, an outside entity. This is a big part of our spiritual responsibilities coming in at the moment. This is our responsibilities as sovereign human beings who are standing in our mastery and our power to be able to discern whether we are being told to do something that is right for us or whether it's wrong for us on a greater scale. And I don't think the particular wording actually finishes there. Void all commands was also referring to an energy or a repetitive energy that is being sent out through the collective field of 3D. That is it's a subliminal commands. It's all of the commands that come through the TV. It's the commands that come through the social media, such as the, like, you know, the lower frequency aspect of Facebook, or anything that's like kind of based in fear, that is designed to capture your attention and drop your vibration and put you in that state of fear. void all commands. Okay, now is the time that we need to be really disciplined about this. Okay, we have got every excuse and every opportunity to be very rattled by what we are being presented with. Okay, we especially, you know, I always mention countries and then people will say, well, why didn't you mention this place? It's awful where I am. I'm talking to all of you collectively, but each of us have got a different varying intensity of experiences, because some of the aspects of the 3D matrix are operating a little bit faster than the other ones. They're kind of like testing the water in certain places, laying out a set of protocols, but they're doing it out of panic, quite simply, because the wildfire of awakenings around this planet, it's gone into, first of all it was hundreds and then thousands and then tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands, then millions, but we're looking at numbers of billions of people who are awake and conscious to what is happening, but might not necessarily have found their voice, found their, you know, like the full scale of their integrity yet, and actually started acting upon it. There's two very different, there's various layers of this state where, you know, inside you can see and feel that something is out of alignment, but what do you do about it? You're just one person in a sea of what appears to be people that are fast asleep. But for you and I and all of the others who are kind of, we've been uniting as a team for a considerable period of time now. We know what we've got to do, okay? And I think it is always very helpful just to remind ourselves on a daily basis that we are the commanders of our own ships, okay? There's no one else that's sailing our ship in our personal world. It's down to you. It's down to me. And so therefore, void all commands will be the commands for distraction. It'll be the get angry, get fearful, get, you know, like apply your attention to this. Listen to that inner critic, that voice that makes you feel tiny, helpless or belittled in any way, shape or form. The pressure to conform to that set of protocols will be very high in December, more and more so. You know, we know that the kind of the masters of illusion are using kind of magic, technology, all of this kind of thing to apply as much pressure as possible. And on one side of the coin, it's and people have said this to me before, well, if you believe this, are you not creating this reality? What we are experiencing at the moment is a collective shift. It's an unplugging and a removal from a way of life and a way of consciousness and a way that the planet has been. And you have to find you've got to find that kind of magical balance in the middle of not burying your head in the sand, but also being aware of what's occurring, honouring and acknowledging the shadow, but not actually engaging with it, and really setting your sights to raise your light and step into this higher frequency. So for the purposes of December, we are going to be we are to sail through this unscathed. It requires us to start acting as master manifestors for our personal reality. Now, a lot of the time people regard manifestation as like, I want a house, I want money, I need sort of kind of thing. And yes, that is a big part of manifesting, because as within, so without, what we are kind of running through, we create in our reality. But very much at the moment, we are collectively together, all of us as a unit, focusing on bringing in this higher reality and anchoring it and establishing it, whilst simultaneously extracting ourselves from this very icky looking soup of increasing volume that is going on all around us. And you say, I hear you asking, well, how do I do that when it's outside my front door? It's across the road. It's affecting me directly. You are the eye of the storm and you are the captain of your ship. So whatever you decide is your reality and whatever you decide is going to be correct for your life, you void all other commands that come in that would actually step over the integrity of what you are feeling or what you know is right for yourself. And this is going to require strength, okay? And this is something that Diana and I we touched on the other night. One of the questions was, when will this all end? When will we see peace? When will we feel comfort and feel safe? And the easy answer to it is when we decide it. Okay, when we collectively have decided, not just maybe collectively, but individually and collectively decided that is the way that we are going to live. It's all down to us. It's down to you, it's down to me, it's down to everybody else that is out there at the moment. And I think the days of us feeling outnumbered are very much over. I'm seeing and feeling this very, very strongly. Back in, a year ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, a decade ago, we were a spiritual minority. Okay, so I can remember the golden days of gathering on a Saturday or a Sunday in our workshop group and actually feeling at home in that unit, feeling safe, feeling that we can express ourselves amongst each other. But then on Monday we go back to the humdrum reality of re-engaging with 3D and having to be that other person again. That, I don't believe, is actually a thing anymore. I think that we have developed so much, maybe without even noticing it, in the past year or 2 years or so, that we are now allowed, because we've given ourselves permission to express ourselves in whatever way we see fit, because that again is sovereignty. Okay, that is allowing yourself to be that spiritual warrior, peacekeeper, earth worker, light worker, healer, whatever you want to be, but being it in everyday life. And I think that's going to be very important as well in the very near future. Is one of the biggest steps or tests or initiations that we ever go through is to honour that, because becoming visible is very challenging. You've got to become visible to your partner, you've got to become visible to the people that you work with, your friends, your family, and they will quite often be your biggest tests and your biggest critics, because they're like, you've changed, what on earth is happening to you? Like, I don't like this change, it's challenging my beliefs and all of the rest of it. But there is enough of us now all beating the same drum to, I believe, feel safety in being who we actually really are, and coming through and manifesting that right to our sovereignty. So, coming up to the solstice, all of this energy is going to, I feel it rising, I feel it building. You can either be part of the fear, or you can be part of the rising, this rising tide, this increase of the flowing golden energy that's coming in. Usually the solstice energy kind of starts around the time of the solstice, but it's coming in now. It's been coming in for a while. This incredibly, it just reminds me of liquid gold. And if you close your eyes and tune into it, you can feel and sense the iridescence of it. That's going to just go up every single day that we open our eyes and our feet touch the carpet and we re-engage with this reality. The vibration will be higher than the day that it was previously, but also that means that the pressure from the 3D reality, the very, very shouty, very squawky, protesting 3D matrix at the moment, that's where I believe that we really need to be focusing and disengaging. Void all commands. Okay, I think that's very, very important. And we can do that consciously, as well as just basically honouring ourselves and drawing that line for anything that we are told that we know is not right for us. You can always sit there during the course of the day, and if you feel that your energy is being compromised in any way, sit quietly with your crystal, close your eyes, and maybe even just go through the process of saying, I hereby, your name, void all lower commands by the power of my light. I, your name, void all lower commands by the power of my light. I, your name, void all lower commands by the power of my light. And just watch your own light just pour through your fields and remove anything of a lower matrix frequency that is attempting to pull you in, to engage with you, to hook in maybe and drop and drain the energy. So yeah, and so we need to be that eye of the storm, as I said the last time, that calm, united, very uniquely peaceful center in all of this whirling energy, this activity of change. Okay, you can either look at it as if it is the end of the world as you know it, or you can look at it as the beginning of the one that we've all set about to create, the one that we've agreed to on a soul level to sign up and come down for. So that, my lovelies, is the end of my Ascension update. And originally I wanted to talk a little bit about light worker PTSD, which is something that I touched on in the live with Diana as well. That many of us are kind of getting to the stage now at the moment where we are feeling so driven but so exhausted that we're actually wondering how we're going to be able to function when this all is over at the other end. And I'm going to look at this, I'm going to give this the time that it deserves. I'm going to give this I'm even tempted to kind of run a workshop on it at some point, because all of us as a collective light team must, or at some point, stand back and honour the fact that we have to integrate, we have to rest, we have to have peace within our souls, and we cannot pour from an empty cup. So, how do we slow down, and how do we actually just step back from the grind when we feel that urgency? It's almost like, if we're not, one of the things that I've seen repeated all the time, and it's a very common feeling amongst us, is that if we're not doing the best that we can every single day, that and we step back, that the entire ascension process will collapse. We're all very, very important pieces of the puzzle. So again, we'll just be needing to step out, take a breath, and then get back in again. And as I've said previously, if you're feeling that way, reach out. There are so many healers, balancers, people that know what are going on around you, and this is the beautiful part about how we are all working together and interconnected with each other at this time. So I will be looking at that at some point, because I know from personal experience that it would be very difficult to go through the set of tests and challenges that we are experiencing at the moment on this planet without having to heal and balance from it at the other end. And that essentially is what, classical, there's so many different aspects of, I'm in no way an expert on the subject in any way, shape or form, but PTSD is recovery from trauma, when we go into a state of fight or flight, and we're constantly in that state because the challenges have been going on so continuously, so repetitively. You think you've moved through one gateway and then something else comes in and hits. We are going to need to heal from that at some point. I'm going to be looking at it in greater detail. Sending you all loads of love. Very happy to be back on a Friday, and I'll be back on Monday. Wishing you all the most beautiful weekend. See you soon. Bye for now.